Hi, my name is Jill and I tested positive for COVID-19. I feel like it's important to share my story because I was 25 and healthy and now I am filing for short-term disability. Because of everything going on, I was furloughed from my job for 2 weeks. In that 2-week period, my birthday fell on April 15th. The next day, April 16th, I did not get out of bed. I slept all day. It was very weird. After my birthday, I started to feel some nasal congestion, sinus pressure, headaches. I attributed it to seasonal pollen allergies because I usually have them pretty bad. I thought, you know what, once I get Claritin in my system, I'll be okay. Back to work on April 27th. I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that week. We had shortened hours at our office. As soon as I got home, I would just sleep. And I basically wake up when my alarm went off the next morning. Thursday night, I had the worst symptoms. I had nausea, migraine. I just felt weak. I hadn't been having those symptoms the entire 2 weeks that I was furloughed. I called my manager and I said, listen, I can go into work tomorrow, but I'm going to need some time off next week because I'm just really not feeling good. She said, no, I need you to go get a COVID test. Over the weekend, I tested positive. Once I tested positive for COVID, they obviously said, stay home for 2 weeks, quarantine for 2 weeks. Sunday, I had the same symptoms, but no respiratory issues. I had no problems breathing, nothing. However, I did notice that I was starting to not be able to smell anything. It was something that they had just started talking about, like loss of taste and loss of smell, so I kind of picked up on that. You could give me the most rancid, rotten egg smell and I would have no idea. It's like there was a block on my senses. So Monday, I started having hip pain and I thought maybe I had just kind of slept weirdly or whatever, and maybe I pulled something in my hip while I was sleeping. From Monday to Saturday, I had extreme hip pain to the point where I could not do anything for myself. I was taking Tylenol extra strength around the clock every 4 hours. I was taking NyQuil Severe. Couldn't sleep because the pain was so bad, and this lasted for 6 days. I just could not shake the pain. I couldn't even get out of bed because the pain was too intense. I'm 25. I'm healthy. I danced for 16 years of my life. I know what a pulled muscle feels like, and it was just different. Saturday, May 9th, that's the day I went to the ER. Gerard ran a bath for me with Epsom salt and hot water, and I tried to make it from the bed to the tub, which was a trip in itself. Immediately, as I'm sitting looking down at my leg, my right leg is obviously bigger, and it's definitely discolored. There was something that was just, I haven't seen it before. Didn't want to go to the hospital because I know I had COVID and I didn't want anyone to put me in isolation. I went back in the bed and I tried to lay down for a few hours. We talked to his mother, who's been a nurse for 40 years, and we got her advice, and she did say go to the hospital. It's your choice, but I really just did not want to go. I did not want to be put in isolation. So around 5 p.m. I really needed to pee, so Gerard helped me get out of the bed and into the bathroom. Another 20 feet that I couldn't walk by myself. As I'm sitting there, I look down again and my leg is much worse than it was before. And at that point, I just knew something was really wrong. We decided it was time to go to the ER. My parents came over to help get me up the stairs since we live in a basement apartment and into our car so we could drive over to the hospital. I couldn't make it up a flight of stairs by myself. I was in so much pain by putting pressure on my right leg. I was so fatigued. I made it to the top of the stairs and I almost passed out. I told Gerard, we need an ambulance, please. We got one to come to the apartment, and then they lifted me out of the stairwell. Once I made it to the ER, I received excellent care. The doctors and nurses on my team were working very hard, and they were efficient and they were fast. After a bunch of ultrasounds and blood work tests and things like that, they determined that I had multiple blood clots in my thigh and my calf. The doctors came in and said, how are you feeling and why are you here, basically, because I was on morphine. What I meant to say was that my right leg and my right foot felt frozen, like they just felt cold. What I actually said, my entire body is Rose on the board and my leg is Jack in the freezing cold water, Titanic. That's what I said. They told me that my temperature was 93 when I got in, and they also did a D-dimer test. A D-dimer test is a quick way to find out if you have a serious blood clot. The doctor said he had never seen a number so high. Put me on something called heparin, which is a blood thinner to help thin out the clots and hopefully have them dissolve on their own. But when you are on this drug, you have to have your PTT levels checked every 6 hours. That means that they have to do blood work every 6 hours, which means that even if it's 4 o'clock in the morning, they're still coming in to take blood. They're only taking it out of one arm because your other arm has the heparin and your IV in it. Now, when they come in, they only take the blood work. There's another lady who comes in to take your oxygen, your pulse, and your blood pressure. Somehow these 2 times never seem to link up. They're almost constantly getting someone coming in. There's no way to get any sleep besides the fact that the guy down the hall is screaming help and bawling like a sheep. Because I was tested positive for COVID, I was put in isolation, which was kind of scary because that means that you can't have any friends or family come and visit you. You're basically alone in a room until someone's there to take your blood. I had a full gown on. I had 2 cloth masks, an N95 visor, like a plastic shield visor, and on the top it had a piece of tape with their name on it. I was finally settled into my room. I realized that I needed to pee. So I called the nurse, and I was so afraid that they were going to put me on a catheter. I work for a urologist. I know what that's about, and I was not about that. They gave me a bedpan. It does not matter if you are young and coordinated and you have upper body muscles, you are still going to mess this up. It's a very humbling experience sitting in what you hope is sweat and not urine, waiting for a nurse to come and help you. Sunday morning, I wanted to see if I could move around a little bit. I definitely wanted to use the toilet. I took a couple steps and I felt okay. And I called the nurse. I said, hi, I just took a step. It went really well. I want to see if I can go to the bathroom by myself and use the toilet. Can you help me? And she said,
no, you're supposed to be on bed rest. You can't walk and you have to use the bedpan.
Great. At some point after using the bedpan, we'll say at least 6 times, the doctor came in and I was talking to her and I said, listen, I tried to get up. I felt okay. I wanted to use the bathroom. She's like, whoa.
You should have been getting up and walking around this entire time.
I said, no. The nurses said,
you gotta stay in bed. You gotta use the bedpan.
and she said,
when you have blood clots, you need to move.
I said, yeah, that was the original plan. But after that, thank God, I was able to unhook the IV tower, I guess, and move around by myself. And that was huge because I was figuring out how to walk again. It was very slow. It was painful, but it was a big thing that I needed to do. Tuesday, May 12th, I was discharged and given the instructions to take Eliquis. I had to keep my leg wrapped and elevated, and I'm supposed to follow up with my primary doctor, and then in 3 months follow up with a vascular surgeon and also a hematologist to find out why I am having blood clots. When I first got out of the hospital, it was a challenge to sit down or get up from sitting in a chair. It was very painful. It was painful to walk. It was painful to move my leg. The point of this video is that specifically my generation is not taking this seriously. I looked at Jordan and I said, listen, we're gonna be fine. We're young, we're healthy, we have no problems. This is basically only affecting weak, old people with underlying issues. The point is that we need to start taking the precautions seriously. Masks, hand sanitizer, gloves, like social distancing, do it. My point is that I was healthy. The doctors told me that if I didn't get to the hospital when I did, I could have lost my leg. The blood clot could have detached from my leg and gone up into my lungs or my heart. I would be really screwed. My point is that you should be thanking all of the people on the front lines, the sanitation workers, first responders, grocery store workers, anyone who is risking their health to make your life better. Please hear my story and take the precautions so that you don't have to go through this. Thank you for listening. Stay safe and healthy. This is why I got COVID.